going strong for 2 years now. We've been doing a Youth Power podcast, and I'm really excited about another guest. If you know anything, leaders build leaders. And that's what our guest, Jonathan Alvarez, and his organization, 914United, are here to talk about. Welcome to the Youth Power podcast, Jonathan. I'm glad to have you on today.
Thank you, Kirk, man. It's a pleasure to be here, man. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to tell our story.
Absolutely. Did I get that right? Leaders build leaders?
Yes, leaders build leaders. I love that. Yes, for sure. You right on point.
I stole it right off the website, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, Jonathan. Really happy to have you here. Many guests, if you don't know, networking is a huge part of what I do in order to find my guests. So while Jonathan and I have never met in person, when I heard about his program, the work that they're doing in the 914 area code and how they're trying to impact young people, right on the website, it says it. Change agents, changing the narrative, leaders build leaders. Jonathan, just give us a short, best you can, tell us about why you started 914 United.
For sure. So as brief as I can, I started 914 United because of my lived experience. So a lot of it is inspired by my own experience with the criminal legal system. So for those who don't know my story, I'm formerly incarcerated. I served nearly 13 years in state prison, a New York State facility. I was arrested on, violent crime, manslaughter in the first degree when I was at the age of 17. I returned home when I was 30. But like I say often, the power of my story is not that I just served prison time served me. And what that means is I went in with no education, returned home with a bachelor's degree, and within my first year upon release, I made it into a master's program. That whole experience in itself, that journey had opened me up to realizing the power of education and how individuals who transform their lives need to be on the front lines in our community to help transforming the lives of others. And given where I come from, the southwest section of Yonkers, New York, knowing that there's a lack of positive influences, positive mentors, or individuals in the community trying to, inspire what we call a cultural shift, right? Knowing that void was there is when I wanted to step in with my organization to basically fill the gap, to give the youth what wasn't given to me before my incarceration.
Man, listen, you make me want to step my podcast game up because I needed to hit the horn or something loud. Repeat that again. When you first came home, what were you able to do in the first couple of years in the first year? Repeat that again because you said it fast for me. And I wanted to give a big round of applause or something so we can hype that up because that's a major accomplishment. Share that again with the audience.
For sure. Thank you for honing in on that. So when I was away, I got my bachelor's degree in social studies, right? And but I had a heavy focus on fashion trends and urban poverty. The title of my undergraduate thesis was a dialectic between ghetto fashion and structural violence and ongoing struggle for power and capital. That undergraduate thesis motivated me to apply to the, have you heard of the New School, Parsons, the New School? It's like the Harvard of fashion. I applied for that MA Fashion Studies program and I was awarded nearly a full scholarship, 2 months returning home. And in between waiting to start school, I was working. I got involved with I was working for Sean Patrick Maloney's a U.S. representative, congressman here in the Mid-Hudson Valley. And I was working and I attended school. So basically coming home, I got me a dope job. I got into a major fashion school. And that is a result of, the things that I was able to accomplish during my incarceration.
Nice. So while you were serving time and while time was serving you, you were in there putting in work as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, putting in work in what way? There's two ways we get to find that, right?
I'm talking about academically though, right? Or so that when you came out, you had options.
Yes. I had
you had options.
Yeah, for sure. Towards the later part of my bid, I say like the last at least 8 years I was dedicated to really investing into myself, right? And that dedication was inspired by other mentors who I was able to follow and shadow in the incarceration system, where individuals who were old school gangsters transformed their lives, going to school, getting their education, and they made education look good. So inspired me. I got involved with every program in self-development, public speaking, writing, and eventually I got into a really major college program, which is P.O.W.E.R Prison Initiative. And that is when I got into the academic arena, learned liberal arts, broad from history to fashion studies to subcultural anthropology, a bunch of great things. And but for me, the information, right, like what I've learned was my academic experience helped me build my personal confidence. And that helped me understand my place in the world so I can develop a plan so that I can come home and execute. And that's exactly what I did.
Nice. Well, like I said, I got to step my podcast game up because I need to have a big round of applause or a horn, something that gives you your acknowledgement for what you accomplished and are still accomplishing. And
Thank
so you said it, you wanted to be on the front lines for helping more young men and young women like yourselves. So in 2020, with a friend of yours, John, you guys created 914 United.
That's right.
Based on your lived experience, based on what you know and you've dealt with firsthand, a little bit of my reading about you guys, the first program you guys started was You're Not Alone Brotherhood. Talk to us a little bit about creating 914 United and taking you there.
I appreciate that. So it actually was the You're Not Alone Brotherhood. Then that led to the 914 United. So interestingly, it was in my first semester of Parsons in the fashion studies program that inspired that You're Not Alone Brotherhood. So what happened was me getting into the fashion studies program, only 9 months home. I was working 2 jobs. I had what I call like a mental breakdown, right? Slight mental breakdown. I never really took the time to slow down. And what we provide people today, I didn't have a mentor returning home, right? To let me know what to think about, what direction to go. I was just hitting the ground very goal oriented and focused. So being home 10 months, I'm focused on school. I'm working hard. I realized I made a decision too fast. School was not the best decision to make at the time, given my living circumstances, given the fact that I wasn't in financial position. And one day, literally, man, I was coming off the train going to school, and I had like this heavy weight on my shoulders, and I just started crying. I started crying, brother, and I was on a platform on 14th Street, and I just felt this feeling of failure. Like I made a bad decision getting to school too fast because I had to let my jobs go to keep up with school. Now I'm penniless, but I'm still behind on schoolwork. Didn't finish the semester, felt like too much, and I made a decision to withdraw from the program. But what kept me strong in that process was that same day I reached out to a bunch of brothers of mine in a group chat, and I was like, "Yo, I'm going through some things right now. I'm crying. I'm like just expressing myself," and they all came through and was like, "Brother, we here for you. You're not alone. You're not alone." And I remember that experience, and then them calling me after that, helping me make my decision to take back ownership of my life and focus on my mental health and not just education. And I remember, man, a lot of brothers don't have that support that I had when I had that vulnerable moment in my life, right? So that's when I decided to actually, this is when John and I, I'm sharing, he was one of the guys in the group chat. And I was like, yo, it'll be really powerful if we was to create a male support group, a safe space for men who is experiencing what I've experienced, but don't have the support that I had. And that's when we started the You're Not Alone Brotherhood.